All right, guys. Our next guest is coming off a slick armbar victory over our own Alex Chambers at UFC 191 and will be main eventing UFC Fight Night 80 against Rose Namajunas. She's a former model, dancer, and currently one of the brightest prospects on the UFC roster. Paige VanZant, welcome to Submission Radio. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, Paige. Now, we mentioned your previous careers in the intro. Important question, why haven't we seen a Drake Hotline Bling Paige VanZant parody video yet?
Right now I'm strictly focused on fighting. It's definitely what I want to focus on. I put those other things of mine on the back burner, but I definitely want to, after this career, I plan on going into that sort of career again.
So do you think we'll see you're familiar with the Hotline Bling parody videos though, right? All those memes?
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Are we going to see a Paige VanZant one? At least you dancing to Hotline Bling?
We might.
Well, in all seriousness though, Paige, how does one transition from being a model and dancer to being a fighter, just for those unfamiliar with your story of how you got into MMA?
Yeah, actually it was a really smooth transition when I went from dance to MMA. I was used to picking things up really quickly, and I was always very athletic. So the transition was smooth. I was able to pick up the moves really quickly, especially in jiu-jitsu. And then stand-up, it was just something that was It was a smooth transition. I'm used to being light on my feet. I'm used to the dance, of training really hard and putting 100% into everything I do. So for me, it was just a mindset, and I was always very athletic. So once I fell in love with MMA, I picked it up fairly quickly.
No, absolutely. And I mean, this is a bit of a silly question, but a lot of people wonder this. Obviously, a previous model and a dancer. Do you ever worry about your face getting scarred because of the fighting, the cuts? Obviously, we saw what Joanna did to Jessica Pena in their fight. When you watch that kind of stuff, does it make you worry a little bit? Like, might get a few scars? Because I know chicks dig scars, but I don't know if dudes dig scars. I'm not sure if it goes back.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you don't worry about. It's not even something you think about, not in training, not in a fight. If you love to win so much, you'll put yourself through absolutely anything just to get a victory. So I don't really think about those things at all.
Sure. Well, at such a young age of obviously 21, you've already achieved a lot and you've had a huge amount of success thus far, and it seems like it's just the beginning for you. Now, did you expect this growing up? And how has your life changed compared to a few years ago when you were just another teenager?
Yeah, my life has changed in the sense I have money coming in now, which is great. I'm not having to break my piggy bank just to get gas money. So in that sense, it's changed for 100% for the better. But in other ways, I've always been a really driven person. I've always been successful at absolutely anything I put my mind to. In school, as a 4-point student most of my life, I've gone to college when I was 16. And then with dance, I was a very successful dancer. And at a young age, I really just wanted to be successful. So in that sense, I'm just trying to be successful in a new area now.
Is it weird having money now? Because obviously me and Casper, we've gone through the whole student life thing as well, where you're sort of borrowing money to get gas money, you borrow money to go out to dinner. And then when you get a bit of money, it's a completely different world. All these opportunities open up, all these possibilities open up. Now, this has happened very quickly to you. Is it weird being able to, go places, buy lunch without having to worry about borrowing it off your mum or something like that?
Yeah, it's great, and that's one of my biggest problems is just the food. I can actually go out to eat now. It's terrible because I'll go out to Thai food, or I'll go out to, there's this great restaurant here named Crepeville. I'm out there almost every day. So that's definitely something I have to look out for. I mean, all healthy stuff, but I definitely need to be better now that I have a little bit of money coming in to still eat at home.
I know. I think I speak for myself, and I probably speak for Dennis as well. I think 90% of our money literally goes on food and takeout. We're like, where's the money going? And it's literally just food. You are very much one of the UFC's it girls at the moment, and you're on your way to becoming a big star, especially at such a young age. Another person who's in the same boat as you is Sage Northcutt. You met him at UFC 192. Just curious, what was that like? What were your impressions of the guy?
It was great. It was great to meet him. I met him right after he stepped off the scale to weigh in. Super nice, very well-spoken. I think he's got a very, very bright future, and that's going to be exciting to watch his uprising as well. We're both young. We're a new generation and a new breed. It's awesome to see another young person like myself being very successful in this sport.
Oh, for sure. And now you guys got the nickname for this card, Paige and Sage. I just want to get your thoughts on the marketing behind that. And also, what do you think of all these comparisons? Are both of you good looking? You both have that all-American look. A lot of people are saying this is almost like Ken and Barbie.
Yeah, I'm happy about the comparison. It's not anything negative. We both are, we're both young, and that's just the way it is. We're young in a sport that is something it's an honor to be a part of, especially being the UFC at this age. It's a huge accomplishment. So it's all great comparisons, and I'm excited that we get to fight on the same card together. I think it's a great thing, and we'll be able to show off that these young kids we're coming in to make a statement.
Oh, well, we're excited about UFC Fight Night 80. Here's the thing. Much like yourself when you entered the UFC, Sage already has his detractors and people that don't really think it's fair for him to get so much attention right off the bat. Was it tough for you when you were targeted by others for your early success and having things like an exclusive Reebok contract so early in your career?
Yeah, I want to say it wasn't hard, but it was. It's hard to. I'm someone I really I do take what people say to heart, and it was hard at first, but then I have to look at it as I have so many blessings in my life. There's no way I should look at anything like this with a negative heart or with a negative emotions behind it. So I just think about how blessed I am and how hard I've worked, and I know what I've sacrificed, and I've had a very, very hard road to get to the UFC, and so I know I deserve every second and every opportunity I'm getting, and I'm just going to continue to win fights and make a great statement for these companies. And I am very blessed to be a part of Reebok, and I just want to continue to be a good representation to their company and to all the companies I work with moving forward.
Oh, for sure. And you've done a great job so far. Now, let's talk about looks for a second. I mean, being good looking, it can have huge advantages, but it also can be an uphill battle because you have to prove yourself to fans over and over at the beginning. How hard has it been being a good looking person in the sport? Have you had more pressure to prove yourself? I mean, it's a funny question, but at the same time, it's played a big part of obviously the marketing around you as a fighter in the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a funny question, and it's obviously one that I've gotten a lot, and it's something people are curious about. But I think people just still have to remember this is still an entertainment industry. It's all about ticket sales, and it's about how many people you can bring to the fights and how many sales you can get. And in reality, though, if I lose my fights, none of it matters. It doesn't matter if people think I'm good looking. It doesn't matter if I have this draw behind me. If I lose my fights, I'm going to lose all of that. So for me, the pressure is still high. The pressure is still on to win fights, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Something that got me curious before, Paige, you said that you had a hard road to get to the UFC. Why hard? What was hard about the road to get to the UFC?
Yeah, just struggles here and there. I don't want to sob story or anything, but of course I struggled. I gave up a lot. I made a lot of sacrifices to get where I am, and I'm just really happy that I get to be a part of the UFC. I get to be a part of Reebok, and I'm definitely on a stage that I want to be on. I always knew from a very young age that I was meant for big things. I was meant to be successful, and I'm finally able. It's like, for me, everyone's like, oh, you're so young. How do you deal with it? For me, it's like, it's finally happening. It took so long for me to be on this stage and to be in front of an audience. I'm ready to perform.
And yeah, I don't want to sort of make this a sub-story either, but you say you made sacrifices. Like, I can imagine being 18, 19, 20, a lot of your friends are probably going out, partying, drinking, whatever the case is. Imagine you were sort of just stuck training, focusing on this dream of yours. Is that one of the sacrifices? And what was that hard kind of, being a teenager, the typical teenager, putting that on the back burner to say, well, no, I got to be disciplined and, focus on this?
Yeah, it's the only hard thing is just, I am young and I'm making big decisions that affect my entire life. So when I moved to Vegas when I was 18, so I just kind of left my path. I left everything behind. I left my friends behind, and but I mean, and it all happened for the best. Obviously, I'm in the UFC now. It really showed me who my closest friends were. My best friends are still. They go to every fight they can make, and they're there for me every second of and every day if I need them. And we may not be in the same state, but we still are very supportive of each other. And I definitely had to leave some family, and luckily now I'm living in Sacramento, which is a lot closer to my friends and family. So I see them on the weekends or after my fights. I make sure I go down to Reno and hang out with my family for a while.
It's an interesting situation because going through all the struggles, Paige, you might have been in situations where obviously you have so many options, being a great athlete, being a good dancer, being a model. Did at any point leading into the UFC, did you get close to leaving MMA, going down another path? Because you had so many opportunities in front of you. Did you get close to sort of quitting MMA?
I never thought about quitting in MMA. I mean, obviously there's those times when you're cutting weight and you ask yourself why you're doing this, but then it's just the reward is so worth it. And I've always known I was meant for big things. I knew from a very young age I was meant to be successful and I was meant to make a difference in the world. And just the fact that the opportunity has presented itself, I know I have to take advantage of it. So even when times get hard and I do get depressed at times and miss my friends and family, I know it's all worth it, and I fight through every second of it.
Well, let's talk about this recent opponent switch. You were scheduled to face Joanna Calderwood originally. Now you're facing Rose Namajunas. How did you find out about the news? Did you get a call from the UFC, or did you sort of find out on the internet like the rest of us? And what was your reaction?
No, actually, I did find out. It was really quick, the opponent switch. I got a call from my manager. They were like, "Hey, Joanne's out. She's hurt. I just want to let you know I'm talking to the UFC about who your next opponent is." They text, and then a few minutes later, they call back, and they're like, "All right, just got off the phone with Dana. What about Rose?" I was like, "All right, perfect. Let's make it happen." And then so it just happened in a minute, in a matter of minutes, where it was just like, this person's out, let me call Dana. Dana talks to my manager, and then the Rose is in.
Well, it's crazy how that all happens now. Joanne was ranked number 8, while Rose is ranked number 3. Would you say that Rose is a tougher test than Joanne?
You know, I think that Joanne and Rose bring different things to the table. Obviously, we do know Rose beat Joanne on The Ultimate Fighter. I think they both have their things that make them good fighters. I will say I think Rose has a more extensive skill set as far as stand-up on the ground. She has a more extensive skill set. So I'm definitely preparing for that. And I'm just excited that I get to fight someone that's ranked higher than me and hopefully move up in the rankings.
Well, what did you think of her recent performance? Rose's, of course, against Angela Hill, where she scored the quick submission win.
Yeah, you know, I definitely expected that. That was a fight I expected her to finish quickly. She did. And now that I'm fighting her, unfortunately, I didn't get to see her fight for a longer time to really scope out her style and what she's fighting like right now. But obviously, I have a lot of film of her last fight. Me and her were... it was talked about us fighting when we both fought for Invicta, so now we just get to do it for a bigger platform.
Well, before Joanne got injured, Angela actually spoke to Ariel Helwani and claimed that she expected the fight between you and Joanne to be lackluster and that you and Joanne will essentially run at each other, fall down, roll around, and then somebody's going to win. Just wondering, did you hear about this, and what did you make of that?
No, I haven't heard about that, but I do know, I've had a fight in the night bonus for a reason. I got there, I put on exciting fights, and I can't wait to get in there. And Rose is a high-level competitor. I'm a high-level competitor, and this is definitely going to be a fight you don't want to miss.
Yeah, Rose by far is definitely a step up in competition. I'm just curious, in that same interview, Angela claimed that you have been groomed by the UFC. I mean, you beat a very tough test in ranked Felice Herrig and then went on to beat, our own Aussie Alex Chambers with a very nice armbar. However, many people saw Alex as a step down from Felice. Do you feel like the UFC are grooming you and giving you opponents that you're expected to beat in any way?
I think that anyone that knows anything about the strawweight division knows there's only 30 athletes. Once you're in the top 15, it's very selective who you have fights with. So that's why when we looked at a new opponent with Joanne, we had to find someone who either hadn't just fought or didn't have a fight lined up already, and that's very hard. Rose just fought. So it's awesome that she stepped up and she's taking this fight, And there isn't enough girls in the division, so you have to take the fight that you're offered. And so, I'm going to take every single fight the UFC offers me.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Rose is no pushover, so I guess that would sort of show that argument doesn't make sense. Now, obviously, both Rose and Joanna are strikers, but Rose has a superior ground game. How much have you had to adjust your training and game plan for Rose?
Obviously I'm going to make little adjustments here and there. My opponents my training partners are going to change their style a little bit to be a little bit more like her. But for me, this is definitely a winnable fight. So I'm just getting to be the best competitor that I can be. I'm making gains everywhere in jiu-jitsu and stand-up, and I'm going to be athletically ready for this fight.
Well, against Joanne, you had a clear grappling advantage. However, with Rose, like you said, she's had a fair share of submission victories. How do you think you stack up against her? And, what are your biggest advantages going to the fight?
This is a great fight for me. I plan to win it in every area. I definitely haven't showed off all of my skill set that I have, so I'm excited to get back in there. I've made a lot of improvements since my last fight. I've been able to watch my fights and see the areas I've improved and the areas that still need work. So I definitely going to be ready for this wherever the fight goes.
Explain this to us, Paige. How is it that you're able to smile so much when you're making an entrance on fight night? Do you get nervous, or is it just something you picked up from modeling to always smile? And also, obviously, you're main eventing this card. Any extra pressure for you? Are we still going to see that smile walking to the octagon?
No, you're definitely still going to see that smile. It's definitely a part of me. For me, I'm happy to be in the UFC. I feel blessed to be where I am, and I'm obviously nervous. I think nerves are good. If you're not nervous, then something's wrong. So I'm going out there, I'm still nervous, but I'm just happy to be where I am. And at that moment when you're walking out, fate's decided. You've done absolutely everything you can do to prepare for that fight. So you just have to live in the moment and go out there and do the best you can.
Sure. Paige, really appreciate the time. We've got a couple more questions and we'll let you go in just a second.
Yeah.
At this point, you're ranked number 6, and there's really only 6 girls ahead of you on the rankings, including the champ, Joanna Calderwood. And Rose obviously being number 3, you beat her. That definitely catapults you. Have you started thinking about a possible title shot that, maybe around the corner?
We're going to have to see. I'll take whatever fight the UFC throws at me, and right now I'm just preparing to beat Rose Namajunas.
Yes, certainly. And obviously, you're probably one of the nicest people in the UFC. If you do beat Rose, and I know you're focusing on the fight, but if you do beat her and you get the microphone post-fight, is there any chance we may see a Paige VanZant type call-out on the microphone?
Nope. I'm not that kind of person. I think I like to go out there and win my fights and then go home and eat and think about what's coming next after I get a second to enjoy food.
Yeah, that's very similar to us, except we don't fight. We don't win the fights, we just eat. Before we let you go, Paige, we've got to ask, what's the official prediction? How are you beating Rose Namajunas at UFC Fight Night 80 on December 10th?
You're just going to have to find out.
There you go. She's a woman of mystery. She doesn't want to reveal anything, but guys, you can check her out at UFC Fight Night 80, December 10th in Las Vegas, and make sure to follow her on Twitter at Paige VanZant UFC, and Instagram is where she does a lot of her dancing. Hopefully there'll be a Hotline Bling Drake parody up there soon, and her Instagram is at Paige VanZant UFC also. Paige, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.